What did you say?
It feels like every day there's a new WandaVision theory doing the rounds, and to tell you the truth, we are struggling to keep up. We've covered quite a few theories already, so I mean, why stop now? In today's video, we're gonna take a look at the hot rumor about the potential inclusion of Evan Peters into WandaVision. Now, any fans of X-Men Days of Future Past will know why that might be very important, but we have another theory for you. What if Peters is playing a different character and not the one that you're expecting? Let's discuss, shall we? So in order to put forward our counter theory, we must first discuss the main theory going around on who Evan Peters is playing, and that, of course, is Quicksilver, the same character he played in the X-Men series. But as you also will no doubt know, there is, or should I say was, already a Quicksilver in the MCU, Wanda's twin brother Pietro, played by Aaron Taylor Johnson. But the fact the two coexist actually goes back to the agreement between Disney and Fox, which included the involvement of Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver into the MCU. Now, Scarlet Witch was allowed to continually appear in the MCU, but at a limited capacity.
You took everything from me.
With a number of her powers not being able to be used. However, Quicksilver was only allowed for one movie, hence why he was killed off, and why he continued on in the X-Men series instead. But as we all know by now, since Disney took over Fox, they no longer have that issue, and no longer have restrictions on which characters can appear. It has long been theorized that WandaVision is the MCU's adaptation of the House of M storyline, which sees Wanda wipe out a vast majority of the mutants in the world. But WandaVision could act in reverse, and actually bring mutants to the MCU instead of wiping them out, and lead to the introductions of the X-Men and company. Episode 4 of WandaVision already hinted at the introduction of the Fantastic Four with the mention of the cosmic microwave background radiation, which gave the Four their powers. So it is plausible then that WandaVision is set up for the wider introduction of Marvel characters. But getting back to the initial theory, that could mean Wanda could bring Quicksilver back to the MCU, but not as Aaron Taylor Johnson, but as Evan Peters. This may somewhat undercut the emotional scene in the third episode when Wanda remembers her brother, but her reaction to seeing someone other than her brother as Quicksilver would certainly be interesting. Also, while Aaron Taylor Johnson is a great actor, Evan Peters' performance as Quicksilver is arguably a lot stronger, with his iconic slow-mo sequence in Days of Future Past being one of the best comic book movie scenes of all time. This route certainly makes sense if they want to bring the likes of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine to the MCU. But what if Evan Peters is playing a different character, Speed? When we say Speed, we are referring to Wanda and Vision's child Tommy. Speed can run, move, and react at speeds far greater than the average human, and takes after his uncle Quicksilver in many ways. But you might be thinking to yourself that Tommy is just a baby.
Tommy?
Yes, Tommy.
How could Evan Peters be playing a baby? Unless they really de-aged him or something. Or pull an Ant-Man in Endgame and go back to when Evan Peters was a baby? Thankfully for Marvel, they don't need to really worry about de-aging or getting a baby Evan Peters for the role of Tommy, and that is because of the amount of magic that surrounds the twin boys and their rapid aging. We've already seen Wanda get pregnant and go through 9 months of pregnancy and give birth in a matter of days. But what's more interesting is that she didn't seem to be in full control of the birth, as she's unable to get rid of the stork, and neither she nor Vision knew she was having twins. This is all pretty accurate to what happens in the comic books, with Tommy and Billy, aka Wiccan in the comics, both being created via Wanda's powers and by the demon Mephisto. If the twins do rapidly age, like the evidence suggests, then in a matter of episodes, they could be in their teenage years, at which point Evan Peters could take up the role of Tommy. Their rapid aging also makes sense for the future MCU as well, since in the comic books, both Wiccan and Speed are members of the Young Avengers, which could secretly be in the works at Disney+. Let's be honest, would you not love to see Evan Peters as the one to lead the Young Avengers? As of right now, there's no official casting for Tommy and Billy, although there have been some rumored auditions in pre-production. But with the MCU being the MCU, they could surprise us all by having Peters play Tommy. If so, it makes you wonder what other potential characters and castings they might be hiding. Now, in Days of Future Past, Evan Peters is undoubtedly declared as Quicksilver, giving Disney less room to be able to turn around and say, actually, he was Speed. But having Peters play Speed could work in a better way and make more sense overall, especially if Marvel are keeping the two series separate. Arguably, and this is just my opinion, Peters' performance was actually more akin to Speed than Quicksilver, with his lazy and rebellious personality more fitting for the character of Speed. Also, Speed seemingly has a bigger path ahead of him in the MCU, especially if they are in fact setting up the Young Avengers, and having someone as charismatic and as proven as Peters could really help launch that series. It would also allow Aaron Taylor Johnson a second chance to play Quicksilver and have the emotional payoff of him reunite with Wanda. She did seemingly bring Vision back to life, although episode 4 makes us question what exactly alive means in this case. Also, thankfully for Peters, despite being 34, he still has a baby face and could still pull off early 20s. As well as this, Tommy and Billy are not meant to be identical twins, so he wouldn't have to play two characters. So this is a win-win. But who knows? Either way, seeing Peters play a charming speedster once more is a victory for all of us fans, so I'll take it either way. But what do you make of this theory? Would you like to see Johnson return to the role of Quicksilver, or would you like Peters to reprise the role in the MCU? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below and get this discussion going. See ya!